Why did you run away from home? In my family, every child's first memory was supposed to be pain. My grandfather called it the rite, and it was a tradition that no one outside the family knew happened. For me, the rite happened 3 days after my 4th birthday. I was dragged into a cellar barefoot. I could feel the concrete floor was freezing and rough. My uncle held me down while my father rolled up his sleeves and took out his belt from his pants and beat me until I could barely stand. It wasn't because I had done anything wrong. That was never the point of the rite. The point was to make you remember and make sure that pain was the first thing you ever truly understood. When it was over, I wasn't allowed to cry because it was a weakness, and instead, I was handed a cloth to wipe the red off my legs and say thank you. Then they gave me a Bible and told me to memorize something before dinner because that was supposed to help me center the pain. All of us went through this when we turned 4, and there were scars on our backs and on our ribs and on our legs. The bruises were constant, and we learned to hide them by saying we were clumsy. We had fallen off our bikes or slipped on stairs. I was learning to live with the rite until my youngest cousin Eli turned 4. I was 16 then, and vividly remember him crawling into my room with a swollen face and his lip was split open. He wouldn't say anything, just hugged his knees while he rocked back and forth. I wrapped him in a blanket and stayed awake all night comforting him. Seeing him like that broke something in me, and I realized I didn't believe any lies they were feeding me. I wasn't stronger because of the pain. I was hollowed out, and Eli would feel the same way in a couple years. From that moment, I started planning. I stole cash from my father's desk, little by little, so he wouldn't notice anything wrong. I watched YouTube videos on how to disappear and found a trauma shelter hotline and memorized the number in case I ever got caught. When Eli turned 5 and they told him it was time for his second rite, we had to go. My 14-year-old sister caught me packing, and though she was quiet at first, she had the courage to ask if I could take her too. She still had bruises from her last lesson, so I said yes. We left at 2 in the morning with 3 backpacks and barely over $1,000 in cash. We hitched a ride to a city and walked 5 miles to a women's shelter that accepted minors. They gave us beds, food, and clean clothes. Eli slept between me and my sister for the first week, flinching every time a door closed too loudly. I got a job washing dishes at a Chinese restaurant. I had enrolled my sister in school under a false name, and Eli started therapy. For once, things started looking up for us, and I didn't even care if we had to live in a 1-room apartment for the rest of our lives because we were free. Our freedom didn't last. We had let our guards down, so half a year later, I came home from work to find a letter taped to our door. Inside were photos of me working at the restaurant, me picking up my sister from school, and all 3 of us at a park. I got bone-chilling goosebumps, and I started planning again. But just like last time, it would take time to get things in order. Our hand was forced 2 days later. My sister's school counselor pulled her aside and said someone had reported her for kidnapping Eli. CPS opened a file on us moments later. My father had sent a lawyer to the county office, claiming we were troubled youth who had stolen their cousin and run away. We had to vanish again, so we didn't take our clothes, just cash and birth certificates. Changed our names and got on the train heading west. Starting over was harder the second time. We lived in a motel for a month instead of our studio apartment. I had to work construction, which was more grueling than washing dishes, and I took it upon myself to sleep in shifts with a bat by the door. My sister also started working at a gas station and brought him leftovers. Eli didn't speak for almost 2 months. Father found us 2 more times, and each time I had to find a new shelter to help us relocate legally under the Youth Emancipation Act. I'm 27 now, working for a non-profit that helps kids escape abusive family systems. My sister is studying psychology, and Eli just got his learner's permit and wants to be a firefighter. We haven't spoken about our family or the rite in 11 years, but there's no need to. We were safe now.